So, and hello, nice to see you. I'm hiking, I'm doing a shakedown hike for my St. James Trail that will begin in about 2 weeks. And today I'm hiking the Leininger Monastery Trail. It is a trail I hiked 3 years ago without filming, and it was the beginning of COVID. At the beginning of COVID, I remember that because it was difficult to find a pub where you could sit outside. It was not permitted to sit inside. Yeah, 3 years ago I hiked this monastery trail with 2 friends, and a year later I hiked the castle trail. There's a nice anecdote. Mr. Leiningen in the US, if you are watching this movie, greetings from Germany. Yes, after the castle trail, Mr. Leiningen from the US sent me a message and thanked me for it. He watched it, hoped, if I remember it correctly, hoped to hike it one day himself. So, as I had not filmed on the monastery trail, I decided to hike it again and film it, and maybe Mr. Leiningen is watching and sees the country where his ancestors, or part of his ancestors, came from. So yeah, it is freaking cold today, a little bit above freezing. The rivers and the little creeks are still a little bit frozen at the edge, not in the middle, but at the edge. It is sunny, actually very good weather to hike. Yeah, you don't perspire too much, and if you keep moving, you feel warm. So let's come with me, let us begin the trail, and I'll show you the ancient monastery, or I don't know how many, actually I don't remember how many monasteries you're going to see, and other villages, and of course this beautiful nature in Rhineland Palatine. So stay tuned. The trailhead begins at the Hotel Rahnenhof. There's also a huge parking lot and an information board where you get all necessary details about the trail. You're also introduced to the logo of the trail. You simply have to follow it. Then the trail begins with a steep climb, and after a few minutes you look already over the mini golf court of Hotel Rahnenhof. It was quite cold when I was hiking the trail in February. There was still ice at the edges of the little creeks. The first few kilometers of the trail are quite a challenge. It is quite a steep climb, and you should be in good physical conditions. Here you see the yellow logos that you simply follow. You cannot get lost. It was sunny and really beautiful, and the perfect weather to climb that little hill, because you did not overheat. Of course you begin to perspire, but I wouldn't want to climb that little mountain in summer when the weather is very hot. The trail is quite narrow, as you can see here. There are pine trees and bushes that are sometimes in your way, but that are actually not an obstacle. Unfortunately, sometimes you see these dead trees that have died due to global warming and the droughts that we have had in recent years, this good old fellow is dead. After 1/3 of the trail you reach the first shelter. It is the so-called hog house, a shelter that was originally built for hunters and people that work in the woods. There is a solid roof in case the weather is bad. You have protection. You cannot go inside, the door is locked, but there is plenty of dry space outside, as you can see here. You can sit under this solid tile roof, and there is also enough space for bigger groups. There are tables and benches. That's the perfect place to have a nice picnic. And should you have run out of water, there is a spring. For people who cannot smell water, there is this sign that shows you the way to the spring, which is a little bit below the shelter. There's this tiny little basin made of concrete and a little run of water where you can fill up your bottle if necessary. So here you can see the shelter again, and after a short break I'm going back on trail. Occasionally you come across these stairways made of stone, but be careful in wet weather, and especially because of the wet leaves and the moisty moss. They are quite slippery, so watch out when you walk over these stairs. Use your pole. As we lost so many trees due to the dry weather, a reforestation program has started that you can see here in this little piece of footage. There are young saplings that got fencing to protect them from deer that would damage the young sprouts. Here I saw the summit of that little mountain called Kieskrautberg for the first time. I was glad to see it, I must admit. So I'm on the ridge. I have climbed and I'm on the summit, and the trail follows. So when you pass this huge rock, you simply follow the ridge of the mountains. Very pleasant. Along the way you come across those old border stones. This one here is from 1838, this one from 1826. You also have a very scenic view over the forest of Rhineland-Palatinate. Although one is quite far away from the parking lot, one can find benches for a luncheon, and that's what I did. Well, I am a little bit more than 1/3 in the trail, and having my first break. I have changed. I'm wearing dry clothes now, dry underwear, my warm puffy jacket, which is necessary. I'm sitting on a very comfortable bench with a very scenic view right in front of me, and well, I am going to eat a little bit, a little snack. So what can I say? So far the trail's been very, very beautiful. I've been hiking on very narrow paths, on real trails, not on those wide roads in the woods that are made to transport tree trunks that have been cut down. So that's quite nice. It's been a roller coaster. Yeah, I must say that. You should be in good conditions if you hike at least the first part of that trail. I remember that the second part is going to be a little bit easier. We will also be hiking through little villages, and we will be hiking on paved roads again as well. So, but for the time being, my luncheon. See you later. A lunch tastes best when you have it in fresh air and when you're hiking. On the summit you see this stone that shows a huge key, the so-called keystone, which used to be a border stone of that monastery. There is also an information board that gives you all the necessary information of the monastery that was mentioned for the first time in 1143. We are now on the summit of a little mountain called Leuchtenberg. There is another picnic area, which is a very beautiful place, especially in summer. Not far away there is this little hut for hunters. So these thin birch trees are bended. Don't know why, maybe because of the heavy snow burden they have had recently. Maybe because of a storm, I don't know. Anyway, the whole valley, all these thin birches lie down. Strange. Most of the time the trail goes gently downhill when you are in the second part of that beautiful hike. And again a border stone, this one from 1826. When you are in this hollow way, you know that you are not far away from the little village called Leiningen, and that you are not far away from pleasant inns where you can drink something and eat something, and if you are interested in culture, where you can see the ruins of the old monastery. But first you must go through that long ravine. The roofs of the village are recognizable through the trees. Here we are leaving the woods and hike a little bit on a paved road, and I guess that the monastery is not far away. Well, from here you can see for the first time the remains of the medieval walls. Well, what's left over of it, the ruins. Right in front of the ruin is one of the two restaurants, and there are also information boards, as I said, that inform you about the history of the monastery, that it was founded in 1120 and in 1143 it was mentioned for the first time in a document when it was completed. Guten Tag. The second restaurant is not far away and also deserves mentioning. When you turn back, you see another wall, which is part of a barn today, and there is something of a rest that looks like an old town wall. And when you go through it, you have already left the little village. The last third of the trail is quite even and not very difficult. There is an additional place to rest at a spring that is not far away. I'm now at the Neuhöfer spring. The sun has gone, it's getting chilly. Here you can see there is still ice. It is frozen. So I've put my backpack here on this wooden table and have drunk a little bit of water, which got very cold in my backpack. And now I go on. About 2 miles away from the parking lot, you walk through this little hamlet, which is called Neuhof, a farm that is very, very old and used to belong to the old monastery, a farm that is approximately 800 years old. So I'm getting closer to the car, which is about a mile away. Well, this is a very good trail that you can begin in the morning after breakfast at that hostel where I parked my car, and after 10 kilometers you can have lunch in one of the inns at the monastery, have a break, and do the second part, the shorter one, in the afternoon. or you push through and you have dinner in the evening at your hostel. Well, thanks for watching, and see you soon.